Hey y'all, Mama Snark here. I'm going to do a quick little updated video on my tips and tricks for flying with preschoolers. I've done a video previously and I'll link that one down below from when my kids were younger, ages like 2 and 3. So now that they are preschoolers and a kindergartner, they are ages 4 and almost 6 years old now. So I'm going to do an updated video on tips and tricks on dealing with like younger kids and preschoolers on an airplane. So tip number 1 is potty. Potty long before you're planning on boarding that airplane. Potty again. And then when you've got like 5 minutes to boarding, once you kind of notice that the flight gate agents are kind of like opening the gate and getting things ready and stuff like that, go potty one more time before you get on the airplane, because I'm here to tell you, you do not want to use an airplane potty. It's gross, number 1. Number 2, it's small. Unfortunately, I had to use one recently with my daughter. She has GI issues and she had, some things going on and needed to go. So basically I had to stand outside of it. Like I had to get the toilet seat prepped and ready and wiped down and layered with toilet paper and stuff. And then I kind of had to stand like outside of it while she was on it going, because I couldn't shut the door with both of us in there. And she is only 4. And this was when she was like freshly 4. So she needed some assistance and help and things like that. Y'all, you don't want to use an airplane potty. Go potty again and again and right before you get on that airplane. Number 2 is going to be the stroller situation with an airplane. If you have like older little kids or preschoolers and like you're not going to Disney or something like that, like I usually am, this might not apply to you, might not be traveling with a stroller. I am usually traveling with a stroller because I'm going to Disney World, and until your kid is like 7 or 8 at Disney, you need a stroller. So with strollers, before, at least 30 minutes before like boarding is about to be called, go to the gate agent. There's going to be a desk by the gate with a gate agent there. Go to the gate agent and ask them for a stroller tag or a gate check tag. They're going to take your boarding pass and they're going to give you a little green tag with like a bungee string to attach to your stroller handle. You need that to gate check your stroller. If you have a like compact travel stroller, like the Jules Air is my favorite one, you can just carry that right on and like put it in the overhead bin. They might question you a little bit. I've had to kind of bully my way into putting it in the overhead bin before when they want you to gate check it, but I specifically have my Jules Air compact stroller because it goes in the overhead. But if you have a bigger stroller, like my new favorite Bob Wayfinder stroller, there's absolutely no way that's going on an airplane. You have to gate check it. So make sure you get that green tag long before boarding calls. Otherwise, you're going to hold up the boarding process by them having to like stop you when you're going to scan in and going and getting a stroller tag and putting it on, and like other people are going to be disgruntled behind you or pushing in front of you, and get it beforehand. Also, be ready to fold the stroller down when you get on that gateway. So you're going to push the stroller basically all the way down to getting on the airplane. But right before you get on, you're going to have to fold it down and set it like right outside the plane doors and before you board. And then like the gate agents and stuff will come in and take that and stow it underneath the plane. And when you get to your landing destination, they will put it back up. But be ready to fold it. Don't have all of your stuff in it. Don't have stuff hanging on it. Don't have like drinks in the cup holders and things in the little side bag and all that stuff. Make sure the stroller is empty and ready to just be folded down and placed at the gate. That'll make the boarding process go easier for everybody. Also, a tip that I learned recently from a gate agent at Orlando is if you have a kid in a stroller, go with pre-boarding. Doesn't matter how old they are, because if you listen to the announcements, they always say like people who need extra assistance getting down the runway or the gateway or whatever, people with children ages 2 and under. I don't fall in that category. I haven't fallen in that category in a long time. Like I said, my kids are 4.5 and almost 6. She told me, if you have a child in a stroller, go with pre-boarding, because you do need extra assistance to get down that runway and leave your stroller at the gate, like get the stroller folded and broken down and all that stuff. Because I had told her, I was like, well, he's 5 years old. because I had my son with me. And she said, it doesn't matter how old he is, you have a stroller, go with pre-boarding. And since then, I have never had an issue doing this. I have gone with pre-boarding my last like 4 or 5 trips now and never had a problem doing it. I will say this is with Spirit Airlines specifically. I pretty much fly them exclusively now just because of the cheap rates, and I haven't had any issues with them. I know they get a lot of flack, but I've had nothing but good things. The few like issues I've had, it's been stuff that's outside of their control. But yeah, you have a stroller, get that gate check tag, be ready to fold it, and go with pre-boarding. Tip number 3 is going to be have something for your kid to chew while you are taking off and landing, and make sure you reserve enough for your trip home. So like I go to Disney World a lot with my kids. I make sure I pack enough gummies for takeoff and landing, going to Orlando, and then I also keep some in reserve that they don't know about for takeoff and landing coming home. I personally do like the Welch's fruit snacks or Annie's fruit snacks just because my kids don't do well with suckers. They tend to just like crunch into them. So I found that the gummies work really well for us, and it's not something that they get at home. I don't just keep those regularly stocked in our house just because it's not that great for your teeth. But takeoff and landing on an airplane, they know they're going to get gummies to chew. You want to keep their jaw moving. If you have, you know, babies with bottles and stuff, they tell you to give your baby a bottle on takeoff and landing. I always take my kids to the pediatrician a couple of days before we fly out if they have any inkling of sniffles or stuffiness or anything like that, to get their ears checked just to be sure. They both have bad history with ear infections. My daughter has tubes still. So I always like to go and get that checked if there's like any indication at all that there might be fluid in there, because I don't want my kids in pain. When that cabin air pressure changes, it's bad for ears if you've got fluid in there. I don't know if you've ever flown with a cold before, but it hurts. It's not fun. So I always, like I said, I do take them to get checked usually, and there's been a couple of times where they have had resting fluid, and she has started a round of antibiotics and some ear drops before I flew with them. But you want something for them to either suck on, like a sucker, or something like gummy for them to chew, like Starburst, Skittles, whatever. Like I said, Welch's fruit snacks are my gummy of choice. That's going to lead into number 4, snacks. Especially if you're flying a budget airline like Spirit, like I usually do, you don't get any snacks with that. So I've seen people, and I've done this for road trips before, and it worked beautifully. It was amazing. But the little like snackle boxes, if you get food grade safe plastic tackle box, they have numbers on the bottom of them. You can like Google what the numbers mean. And then like you fill it with different little snacks and stuff. I've done that on road trips. That takes up a little bit too much room for me when I'm flying. I'd prefer not to like have something that takes up space. So I found on Amazon, and I'll link it down below, it's just a clear little like zipper pouch with a wristlet attached to it that says snacks on it. I like to travel with that, and then like once the snacks are eaten, it becomes flatter and flatter and it doesn't take up as much space, but it fits perfectly in like the laptop compartment of a backpack, slides right on in. So I usually travel with, I mean, obviously you want shelf-stable stuff. So I usually do like Go-Go squeeze pouches, the applesauce and the yogurt ones, Cliff Z-bars, Goldfish, granola bars for myself, beef jerky sticks, sometimes gummy, like extra little like gummies or like an extra little treat that they don't normally get, maybe some M&Ms or something like that. Like I don't do full-on meals, but I do want something that's gonna sustain them. Because if you think about it, and I'll use Disney for an example because that's usually where I'm going, but if you're going like all the way through the airport, on the airplane, you still have to travel when you land from the airport to your destination, get checked in, all that kind of stuff. That's a long span of time to go without eating or snacking. So if we go the whole airplane ride without snacks, at least when we're like landed, my kids and myself are gonna need something in their bellies to, you know, make sure blood sugar stays level and all that kind of stuff, and to avoid getting hangry. So snacks. Number 5 is going to be entertainment. You do not want to be the person with the child who is causing a ruckus and kicking seat backs and running up and down aisles and flailing and twisting, and you don't want to be the parent of that person. I know sometimes that's unavoidable. I'm not like parent shaming, but I do everything in my power to not be that person. Because I've been in that situation before and it's not fun. Anyone with little ones has and knows what I'm talking about. Be prepared. So, number one, make sure that you have like whatever tablet you're bringing. I'm assuming most people are bringing tablets. Y'all, when we fly and when we're traveling, like road trips and stuff, screen time limits don't exist. You can have that tablet for as long as you are quiet and entertained and not, you know, being a whirlwind Tasmanian devil like my daughter usually is. So whatever tablet you have, make sure you have everything downloaded to it, because you're not going to have access to Wi-Fi. You can purchase the plain Wi-Fi, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not going to be strong enough to stream, so don't count on that. Make sure you have stuff downloaded. That way when you go into airplane mode, you don't need Wi-Fi to like stream something to watch. Disney Plus, you can download shows and movies. Netflix, download shows and movies. Amazon, any kind of like apps and games and things like that. Make sure it's all downloaded. I will also say my new like mom hack that I started doing about a year ago now and never looking back is I got an unlocked cell phone from Amazon. I've also done a track phone that I got really, really cheap for like $30 on from Prime Day deal for my other kid, is to get an unlocked cell phone, like super cheap one. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just an Android like unlocked cell phone. Don't put a SIM card in it. Use it as a Wi-Fi tablet, as a mini tablet, because traveling with something this small is a lot easier to put in your backpack or in your pocket than the giant kids tablets with the massive like bumper protection cases on there. My kids' normal tablets they have is a Galaxy tablet. We don't do iPads because I'm not getting my kids something that expensive for them to break. But we have the Galaxy tablets that have like the thick bumper kids case on it, so if they drop it, it doesn't break. Those are a pain to travel with. They take up so much space. They stick trying to put them in and out of a backpack. Get a mini tablet, like we call them, just unlocked cell phone. So much easier to travel with. Headphones. Make sure that you have headphones. Do not be that person, please, you or your child, that has like the phone on their tablet, volume full blast. It's rude. Don't do it. Like, also, like, just be courteous to the passengers around you. They paid for a ticket too. Try to give them as peaceful of a flight as possible. So, headphones. Make sure that you have headphones. If they are Bluetooth headphones, make sure they're charged. Make sure your tablet's charged. My personal favorite that I've started traveling with, we have like the big over-ear ones that plug in and stuff for road trips. But when we're flying, it's called, I think it's called like Kids Band or something. I'll insert a picture here and I'll link it down below. It's a headband that goes over the head. The speakers are in the ears. You turn it on and off. It also does come with like an audio jack. So if you have like Kindle Fire or something that it needs to be plugged in and can't Bluetooth, it comes with the audio jack as well. Or if like the battery dies, you can plug it directly into the tablet. These things fold up like super small. Same thing with the mini tablet. These two things combined take up almost no space in my backpack, or I can shove them in my pocket or whatever. That's my preferred like traveling devices for my kids. So entertainment. Also, I hold off on the tablet as long as possible. Like, I don't give it to them while we're in the airport. I wait until we are on the airplane, seated, buckled, ready for takeoff. That's when I give it to them, because I want it to hold their interest as long as possible. My son, it's no problem. Like, you give him his tablet, you're not going to hear from him for hours. Like, he's good. He's set. My daughter, not such an easy little kid to entertain. Like, screen time only works for a little bit. There have been some plane rides where she's done really well and just used her tablet the entire time. And then most of them, that's not the case. And I'll get into that in just a second. I try to hold off on screen time as long as possible and wait until we are on the airplane. That way I get the biggest bang for my buck and the longevity of it. Circling back to other entertainment. For the airport and for the plane, if the tablet's a no-go and just not holding attention, I basically have like my mommy bag of tricks. I shop on Amazon and just kind of randomly search like toys or Disney toys or like road trip toys or whatever. Go to Dollar Tree, Walmart, whatever. And I find the cheapest things that I can find that are like little new entertainment that my kid hasn't seen before. Some of my favorites from the Target dollar spot. That's one of my favorite places to go. Imagine Inks, $3. It's the little coloring book with the marker that only does like the one marker for the whole thing it colors it in. So Imagine Inks are fantastic. They have the little play packs at Target dollar spot. Those aren't really my favorite. Go to Dollar Tree and get some little like mini coloring books and little mini packs of Crayola, some stickers, little figurines, little action figures. I'll shop Amazon for like whatever my kids are into, like Barbies or Minecraft or Disney toys or whatever. And like when I have a minute, if I'm in a waiting room or I'm just kind of killing time playing on my phone, I'll scroll through and find ones that are like super, super cheap. And I'll buy them and I'll put them away in a bin I have in my kids' closet for traveling stuff. So like whenever we're getting ready to go on a road trip or like a flight or something, I just open that bin and I grab a couple of little toys. And let me tell you, this has been my saving grace. Like, did a little girls trip about a year ago, and my friend was like, "You are amazing. You saved this flight." Because I was like, the two little girls were just, they were not having the tablets. They just didn't want to sit still for that long and just like look at a tablet. So we pulled out like bracelet making kits and the little like etch sketch thing where it's like the black paper and the little wooden pencil and you like, it makes rainbow underneath. We did that. We did, I think, Imagine Inks. We did all kinds of stuff, but have these little things that don't take up a lot of space in your bag that you can pull out that's new that they haven't seen before. Do not have something that has a bunch of little pieces. I want to say this is obvious, but don't have something that has a lot of components to it because inevitably your kid's going to drop something and it's going to roll all the way to the back of the plane and you're never going to see it again. So don't have anything that has like little pieces to it. Try to keep it as simple as possible with like minimal things that go in it, minimal components and stuff, sticker sheets, things like that. That has been my saving grace. I cannot tell you enough. Like I said, my son, he's pretty good with the tablet. Like I just give him his tablet and he's good to go, but he does get a little bit antsy sometimes and doesn't want the tablet, and he'll happily just play with his little action figures or like do a little Imagine Ink or something like that. But make sure you are prepared with entertainment. Have that tablet, have little toys and snacks and all that stuff ready to go. Number 6, and my last one, is be prepared, number 1, for them not to fall asleep on a flight. I know most people just kind of like automatically assume, especially if it's a really early flight, that your kid's gonna fall asleep and take a nap. Yeah, mine usually don't. I've gotten lucky a couple of times and I've had that happen, but for the most part, if it's like any time between 3 a.m. and 10 p.m., my kid's not gonna nap. Like they just don't do it. They haven't napped since they were 2. So don't bank on your kid taking a nap on the plane because it might not happen. So be prepared to have things to entertain them and stuff because they might not sleep at all. The other end of that is be prepared if they do fall asleep. I travel solo a lot with my kids. I alternate taking each one of them on trips with me to get a little one-on-one time with them. And if I do a late evening flight back, like I said, anything after 10 p.m., they're gonna crash. And when my kids crash, they crash hard. Like there is no waking them up. I could literally like spray them with a water hose and whatever, like jump on a trampoline with them. They are not waking up. They are knocked out. So be prepared. If you have a partner with you, like if you only have one kid and it's 2 adults, that's no problem. You got this. One person grabs all the bags and stuff. The other person grabs the sleeping kid. And then the one that doesn't have the kid gets the stroller from gate check or from the overhead bin or whatever. By yourself with a sacked out kid, it's a little bit trickier. So this has happened to me twice now. 2 different kids. The first one, both times, y'all let the plane empty. Don't be pushing and shoving and elbowing. If you have a connecting flight, I get it that this doesn't apply to you. But if you're like landed, you're where you're going to be, let everyone get off the plane. It is not worth bumping your child and having people bump into you and shove and push. Let the plane clear. That's my biggest tip for you in that front. Let the plane clear out. After that, I have been lucky enough, thankfully, to have some wonderful Spirit flight attendants help me. So I usually travel with like a backpack and then like a tote bag. So I get up, keep the kid sleeping, and I always put my kid on the window seat. That's another one that I didn't put in there. Put your kid on the window. Number 1, it keeps a stranger from sitting next to them. And number 2, they're going to be more entertained if they can see out the window. But I leave my kid sleeping in the seat. I get up, I get my backpack either from under the seat or the overhead bin, put the backpack on, and then, you know, get my tote bag either down or out from under the seat and put it in the seat next to my kid. And then I kind of shimmy in there and like maneuver them and hoist them on my body. My kids aren't light. Well, my son's light. My daughter is not light. So you're holding a sleeping, you know, non-moving thing, and then you're getting a tote bag, and then you still have to get the stroller. So if you have a stroller and an overhead bin, that's going to be very hard. Like, you're going to have someone help you. Like I said, thankfully they have been pretty nice and have offered to help seeing me struggling. But more often than not, you're going to have a gate check stroller. So like the gate check stroller with man cub, got him, had the tote bag, had the backpack. I actually had a flight attendant that was super nice, and he grabbed the tote bag from me and walked behind me and walked the tote bag off while I had my son. When I got to the landing gate, I was the only one with a kid on this flight, coming home to New Orleans. My stroller still hadn't been brought up, and I was the last person off the plane. So be prepared for it to take a minute for them to bring your stroller back up from gate check for you to get it. That's another reason I like to fly with the overhead bin stroller if I can. But yeah, so I'm, you know, standing there with a sacked out heavy sack of taters in my arms. Awesome agent, you know, dropped my bag by my feet and had to head on to their next stop. Finally, the gate person like brought my stroller up, and Angel, he saw that I was, you know, holding a sleeping child, and he got me to walk him through opening the stroller so that I could just like lay my kid in it. Don't count on that, because not everyone, unfortunately, is going to be like kind and courteous. But more often than not, if someone sees you struggling or you ask for help, they're going to help you. But yeah, so be prepared to drag a sleeping child off the plane. It's hard. It's not easy, especially if you're by yourself. Like I said, if you've got a partner with you or another adult with you, you got this. Like, one person just carries the kid and the other person does the stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for flying. Like I said, I fly pretty often with my kids. Let's see, January, March, August, September, November, December. I've flown 6 times by myself with my kids this year. Kind of a pro at it now. So these are all the tips and tricks that get me through it and hopefully help get you through it. You got this. You can do it. If your kid does have a meltdown and a tantrum, it's not the first time. It happens. Take a breath. Don't freak out. People are going to get irritated. That's just the nature of the beast. But most people, I think, are compassionate enough to realize that, you know, sometimes kids just have bad times too. But take a deep breath, recollect, pull something new and shiny out of your bag, whether it's a snack or a toy or whatever. Like, hey, look at this. Distract. Distractions will be your best friend. And that's for traveling in general with children. But hopefully these tips and tricks were helpful for you in planning your vacation and traveling with little ones. It's a whole different ball game whenever you're traveling with kids versus just by yourself as an adult. So make sure you give this video a like and a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, subscribe to my channel, and follow along for more adventures. Bye guys.